It's time for Come and Talk It with your host, Michael Cargill, brought to you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Go Andrew. Right there. Go right out there. Go right here. Get up. Get up. Get up. Right now. We're talking to individuals. What do you do? Come outside. Come outside. Oh! Yo!
Brian, get out! Brian, leave! Oh no!
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. You know, a Black Lives Matter activist who attempted to assassinate a Democratic mayoral candidate in Kentucky has been released from jail on just a $100,000 bond. He was charged with attempted murder. And why is he being treated differently than Kyle Rittenhouse? That's the question that I have. That video that we just watched, man, dude, what's going on? It's like instinct. You know, what's going on with, we need to do a better job of training some of our law enforcement, because instead of jumping in and detaining everyone, treating everyone equal, it seems like there seems to be a little problem with that. You know, in this little fight that we just watched, only one person was detained and the other person was treated like, are you okay? Is everything all right? You need a cup of water? It's like it's instinct. They don't even think twice. Don't even try. We need to do a lot better job of making sure that we're treating all our citizens, no matter what their ethnicity is, their race. We need to treat everyone equal. We need to do a better job at doing that. All right, so I want to talk about quite a few things there. I also want, suicide. Man, let me tell you, Zach, there are like two different types of, people in this world. There's ones that when it comes to suicide, there are people that are like, hey, I need attention, help me, please stop me. Then there are those people that are just like dead set on just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Caught you off guard, didn't I?
That's accurate. Yeah. Cries for help, right?
Yeah. There's people that cry for help, and there's people that are just dead set on doing it. And no matter what we do, we just can't stop them. So, man, I want to talk about so much today. Let me tell you. Let's see. Let's get into the story of, and by the way, there's a Louisiana teacher, Zach. Louisiana teacher.
Oh, the cupcakes?
Louisiana teacher. She took a plea deal after serving semen-filled cupcakes to her class. All I can say to this story is, oh my.
Why would you do that?
Why? Why would you do this?
I'm curious as to why.
Gross. So the this happened, man, I don't even know when this happened, but a 36-year-old Cynthia Perkins, that I like that name, Miss Perkins. Miss Perkins, I have my homework ready. Are you going to collect your homework up today, Miss Perkins?
I don't think that's what her students sounded like.
Is that not what her students sound like?
Probably not.
No.
They probably didn't say, what can we do for extra credit?
Miss Perkins?
No, I don't think.
Well, let me tell you about Miss Perkins. Okay. Miss Perkins is a former teacher from Louisiana. Why are they always from Texas and Louisiana? And they're always young, good looking, or Florida. Can't forget it.
Usually
Florida.
Texas, though.
Yeah, usually Texas, Louisiana, or Florida. Something's in the water around here. All right, so She's currently pleading guilty to giving her students cupcakes laced with her own husband's sperm. She also admitted to a ton of sex crimes, including child pornography, second-degree rape, and mingling of substances. I'm trying to figure out, what does that actually mean? Mingling of substances.
Feeding her students bodily fluids, maybe.
And she was also facing more than 70 counts, which they cut down after she agreed to testify against her husband in court, according to the authorities. Cynthia is to be sentenced to 41 years in prison. 41 years. Man, that's just disgusting to me. Who does that? What goes to your head?
Cynthia Perkins.
Why?
does that.
Just why? Just someone answer that question for me. Just why?
You ever seen that movie? What's that? What's that movie about the fraternity? And they get the dog to fill the cannolis, and then they serve the cannolis to the frat house. Road Trip or something like that. You know, Van Wilder. That's right.
Oh, crazy.
Uh-huh.
And we can't forget about, this the Black Lives Matter, activists accused of shooting a Louisville mayoral candidate was released from jail after a $100,000 bond was posted for him. $100,000.
Quintez Brown, right?
Quintez Brown, 21 years old.
Yeah, I heard a interview that was done at one of those, Moms Demand Action type of rallies where they interviewed him. And he came on and he said, nobody needs an assault rifle. Yeah, if any of these politicians, if they're pro-gun, then we need to take away their A rating.
But then
this was a few years prior to his,
but he pulls out a gun to shoot
use of
someone.
a gun for an assassination attempt. Yeah.
So Quintez Brown, 21, was released from jail on Wednesday, but will have to remain in home detention according to the conditions of his bond. Brown has been charged with attempted murder and wanton endangerment after he allegedly shot a Craig Greenberg, a Democratic candidate. This wasn't a Republican candidate. This is a Democrat candidate for mayor in Louisville. In his campaign office, Zach, in his office. And so they're like, hey, dude, we're just going to get, $100,000. We'll let them bail him out and send him on his way.
You know who posted the money?
Who posted the money, Zach? Don't tell me. Oh,
it was the local chapter of Black Lives Matter.
No, please don't tell me it's so. So, yeah, you're right. The Louisville chapter Black Lives Matter said on social media that it used money from the Louisville Community Bail Fund to pay Brown's bond. The Louisville Community Bail Fund accepts donations and was organized to provide resources for bond and provide post-release support to get, arrested individuals from jail, according to the, I guess, their little bylaws or whatever. We come back from the break. We're going to talk about this story. We got so many more stories to talk to you about, but we're going to get into this. Black Lives Matter in Louisville said on Twitter that mentally health resources for Brown were basically denied. And so when his bail was raised $100,000 by Jefferson District Judge, they had no choice but to donate the money for it. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government.
After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were complying with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking about this this story here. Black Lives Matter assassin trying to assassinate a mayoral candidate. I don't get, what's happening here. So according to the Louisville Police Department, Black Lives Matter activists actually walked into the office of a mayoral candidate, a Democratic mayoral candidate, and tried to assassinate this guy. And, and I'm confused on why we're treating this guy differently than I don't hear any, yells and screams, as like they treated Kyle Rittenhouse, and I got a problem with that.
Oh, yeah, they demonized Kyle Rittenhouse.
Demonized
for
him.
defending himself.
For defending himself against people that were trying to kill him. That's right. So, what is going on here? This guy walks into someone's office and tries to assassinate them, murder them. And you're like, hey, we're going to pull up the bail money. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Quintez, we're going to take care of you.
Yeah, and during the break, we pulled up a video of him at a 2018 March for Our Lives rally.
Where he's talking about what?
He's talking about, we need more gun control. We need to ban all assault rifles.
We need to take their NRA rating away.
Yeah, we need to take away their A+ rating.
Oh, yeah.
If these politicians who are pro-gun, if they still have an A rating, and he put his hands up in the air like, seriously?
I mean, if this is your spokesperson, he does something like this, you can't, down the road say, oh, I'm sorry, he's cray-cray. He's cray-cray.
Yeah, someone like that who is calling for this gun control, it's really a cry for help.
On national TV.
He is crazy, and he needs his guns taken away, is what he's really saying.
So the activist accused of shooting a Louisville mayoral candidate was released from jail after posting a $100,000 bond, And so Quintez Brown...
It wasn't him that posted it. It was the local chapter of Black Lives Matter.
Right. So the Louisville chapter of Black Lives Matter said on social media that it used money from the Louisville Community Bail Fund to pay Brown's bond, and the Louisville Community Bail Fund accepts donations and was organized to provide resources for bond and and provide post-release support to get arrested individuals from jail, fed, and to a situation of safety, according to the bail fund's website. Now, Black Lives Matter in Louisville said on Twitter that mental health resources for Brown were basically denied. And when his bail was raised to $100,000 by a Jefferson district judge, so they had to do this, he will get the help he deserves. Black Lives Matter's Louisville chapter said in a tweet. And so, according to a councilman in the area, a councilman said, attempted murder on Monday, go home on Wednesday. This case is highlighting everything wrong with our criminal justice system in Louisville. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't play. We got to get away from the feelings, the emotions, and we got to stick to the law. When someone breaks the law, you got to separate yourself and you say, okay, this person did something bad. We need to hold them to the full extent of the law. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can't go back and forth. When you do that, all you're going to do is create a racial divide. And I know, yes, I know. Someone's going to call me up and say, Michael, you're just hating on black people.
You're just hating on black people. By the way, our call-in number is 512-643-5483.
Michael, you're just bootlicking, and then the next story, or the story later on down the road, I'm going to talk about something totally different, and then they're going to say, well, Michael, you just hate the police. What it is, people, is I call it like I see it. When I look at a situation, and I look at it through the lens of the law and common sense. And that's what the problem is. If I look at something and I'm telling you that this person's wrong, guess what? They're wrong. Read the tea leaves. I don't get involved in emotions and feelings. I don't care about your emotions and your feelings. That's what your parents are for. What I care about is what's right and what's wrong. And that's what we're telling you here. What's right, what's wrong. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. Read the tea leaves. So let's go through the Twitter here. I like looking through Twitter. It says, the help he deserves is being locked up for 15 years. I agree with that. Why are you guys bailing out an attempted murder suspect? I have no idea.
Hey, fun fact, Quintez Brown was named as a rising face by Barack Obama's foundation in 2019.
Yeah. Well, he's crazy.
Yes, we can.
He was just one of 22 participants chosen for the former president's My Brother's Keeper program.
Don't call me up. Don't tell me I'm bashing. I call it like I see it.
He's a jackass.
We can say that.
He never said that.
What?
No. He actually gets accolades from President Obama.
What? I didn't know we could say that. Oh, my goodness. Producer, you're enlightening.
Hey, can we say what Biden said about that reporter?
What did Biden say about the reporter?
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Oh, my goodness. Your president. Oh.
Did he ask him about inflation or something?
Is that what he asked him about?
I believe so, yeah.
Hey, Mr. President, can you tell us?
I'm not supposed to be answering all these questions.
Mr. President, can you, I have a question for you about inflation.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Boy, let me tell you.
The kids in the pool, they used to push the water in my hairs till my hair stood up.
Oh, my goodness.
I love kids jumping on my lap.
Make it stop. Make the bad man go away. Mom, please make him stop. Oh, my goodness. All right, so let's get off Biden.
Biden.
Bye, Biden. All right, so let's go to Louisiana. So this teacher, man, let me tell you.
Oof.
What, Zach?
Remind me never to eat anyone's cupcakes.
I'm not eating food from anybody. I'm telling you, anyone that says, hey, I recognize you. No, thank you. I don't want the food. I'm done.
I recognize you here.
No.
Take these muffins.
No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I recognize you from the news. No, thank you. I'll just do drinks, please. And I need to watch you while you pour. I'm here to tell you. So
hold your hand over your drink while they're around, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. No roofing here. So a Louisiana teacher takes a plea deal for charges including serving semen-filled cupcakes to her class. I just want to take a look at her. Look at her picture. Yeah, let's just take a look at her. So, what is her name? Cynthia Perkins. Miss Perkins. Miss Perkins? Miss Perkins was
She looks like that kind of teacher,
She
too.
does.
Mhm.
Yeah. Miss
The
Perkins.
brown roots with the blonde bleached hair. Just that look on her face like,
See, you're going to get me in trouble. Someone's going to walk into the shop. They're like, excuse me, Michael. I have blonde bleached hair with brown roots.
take it up with Zach.
Ma'am, I didn't say anything about you. I appreciate you. And you need to talk to Zach. Oh, let me tell you. So Miss Perkins is a former teacher from Louisiana and who is currently pleading guilty to giving her students cupcakes laced with her husband's.
Ex-husband.
Her husband's. Is it ex?
Ex-husband.
Why?
Who is awaiting his own trial on sex crime of a child charges.
What goes to your head when you do something like that?
Mm.
And I'm just like, how did they come to the realization that something was in it?
And her ex is a former Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office SWAT member.
Oh.
Dennis Perkins.
He's a cop.
Who is also charged with dozens of child sex crimes, according to prosecutors.
Oh, my goodness. So, this is a police officer and his wife.
A SWAT police officer.
A SWAT police officer. Bunch of sickos. Bunch of little freaks. Don't call me. Don't call me. I don't want to hear don't call me. Don't send us little crazy messages. Say, Michael, you're bashing law enforcement. This dude's a cop. And his wife did this. You people are sick. Whatever water you're drinking, I don't want any of it.
She pleaded guilty to second-degree rape, production of child pornography, and conspiracy mingling of harmful substances.
Freak, you are a nutcase. Completely insane. We need to. These people here are the ones that we need to remove from the planet. Yes.
Where do we send them?
Yes, and see things like, and this is when I go back and I say, Michael, we need to go back on your stance. This is when I contemplate my stance on abortion.
Adult onset abortion.
Yeah. I'm just like,
it's called the death penalty.
We might want to rethink abortion. I'm telling you right now, because people like this, we need to excommunicate them from the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what the British used to do to their citizens when they sent them to Australia. Right?
What they do?
They used to just ship them off to the island, the prison colony, Australia.
Get rid of the unwanted. Mm-hmm. And for that, we thank you.
Australia began as a prison colony, and now it's back full circle. Now it's a prison colony.
A bunch of thugs. Aussies.
They're great people. I love Australians.
But you're nothing but a bunch of thugs.
Amazing. They started out as maybe criminals, and had that bloodline, but they became amazing people, and now they're under authoritarian rule again, which is, disappointing, but hopefully they'll get out of that sooner rather than later.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hopefully.
All right.
I'm rooting for them.
We come back from the break. We're going to talk about Beto. We're going to talk about Travis Ranking, that trial, and also the chicken thief. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Brittany Glaze, and I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements...
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
Let's go to the phone lines. And by the way, our call-in number is 512-643-5483. That is 512-643-5483. It's actually 512-643-LIVE, just in case you wanted to know. Let's go to the phone lines. Jack, you're on with Come and Talk It.
Hey, this is Jeff.
What up, Jeff? I hear you. Okay, Jeff. What up, Jeff?
Hey, how's it going, Michael?
I'm doing good. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm pretty good, man. I'm kind of bent out about this Louisville thing because, I'm from the Kentucky area.
What? Man, your teachers are nutcases out there, boy.
I know. And then there's this Georgia one, too. And, what are these teachers doing?
What happened in Georgia?
Oh, man. Well, that was actually the contra-positive type of thing where... the teacher got, assaulted by one of her students, but it goes the other way around with this Louisville one, and then with this Black Lives Matter. What's this guy, Quintez Brown or whatever?
Right. Yeah, boy, let me tell you.
And why is he going after a Democrat, by the way?
Right? Aren't you a Democrat, Jeff?
Well, the mayoral candidate was Jewish, so maybe that had something to do with it.
It may have gone into anti-Semitic. There's that.
So this is a hate crime.
That goes into hate crime territory, and they probably cross state lines on it.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
That's getting hated there.
Man.
What?
I don't know, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm bent out about it. It's a good topic, man. I don't need to take too much of your time today, but you also brought up the suicide thing, which I've had a couple people have dealt with that.
Yeah. Tell me what your thoughts on it.
That was earlier on in the show, when it, a cry for help or
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Some people are just off kilter, I guess. I don't know, man.
Have you come across that, Jeff, where you had some people that cry out for help, and then there's those people that actually are dead set on doing it, and they don't show any signs at all?
Sure, yeah, I've seen both, man, personally. But I mean, I don't know as much as you, but I mean, I've seen both. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's a disturbing topic, but it's worth talking about.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Why? What is it? And that's actually the distinction. Is it a cry for help, or is it just something that's buried down where it's just gonna lash out like that, where it just all comes to a head at one all of a sudden? And how do you recognize that? In some people because that's where violence and murder happens. In my opinion, man. Right. Whatever, man. Great topic, though.
Not a problem. All right. Thank you, Jeff Astro. Appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Michael.
All right.
Jeff.
All right. So, man, I want to change gears a little bit, talk about Beto O'Rourke. O'Rourke. Beto.
Hell yes.
So on his past remarks there, he talked about taking guns. He said he's not, all of a sudden now he's saying, I'm not interested in taking anything from anyone.
Oh,
But I have a good memory. And most Americans don't have a good memory, but I have a good memory. And I remember this. And I'm gonna tell you.
I remember. What was it? The primaries, right?
Yeah.
The presidential primaries when they asked him, so, do you want to take people's AR-15s?
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
He said a whole... He was
I don't
confident.
remember exactly, but what was it that he said?
He was confident in his response.
Did he say, I think so? Or did he say maybe? Or what was it?
Sort of, kinda. Yeah. Or, I don't know. I'm considering it. Maybe.
Was that what he said? Or did he say something else? Let's see if maybe we have a clip of this.
Where he was actually very confident in his stance because the Texas Democratic gubernatorial candidate, Beto O'Rourke, on Tuesday said that he has no interest in taking assault weapons, whatever that is.
No interest.
Assault is a verb.
So he had no interest at all, but I vaguely remember him saying, let's see, do we have
Hell
this
yes,
clip?
we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
That's right. Yeah, that's about sums it up. He was confident in that.
Yeah, does he know how many AR-15s are out there?
Well, apparently backing away from his position he took during his campaign from 2020, speaking to reporters in Tyler, Texas, where everyone's got an AR-15 this week, O'Rourke said, you know what, that he wants to defend the Second Amendment. What? Excuse me. Just give me lines of Coke right now. I'm just like, I'm done. You know,
he wants to defend the Second Amendment.
He wants to defend the Second Amendment.
Taking your AR-15, your AK, and every other gun that you own, because an AR-15 and an AK, they are just semi-automatic rifles, which means that for every one pull of the trigger, you get one shot, just like with a pistol. Okay? So he wants to take away your semi-automatic rifles.
Just like any other rifle.
And just like a pistol, it's pretty much the same as a pistol. Different round, but it's the same concept, same mechanics.
Don't fall for the okie doke. So O'Rourke said that he wants to defend the Second Amendment, but argued that the state's gun policy should be driven by law enforcement. I found that kind of peculiar from a Democratic candidate. Let me tell you. He also hammered Governor Greg Abbott for signing a bill into law last year that allows Texans to carry handguns without a permit or training.
Oh, he didn't like permitless carry?
He didn't like constitutional carry. He don't like, everyone having a right to do whatever without getting the government's permission. He don't like freedom.
Need to petition the crown.
Yes, he wants you to bend the knee. Bend the knee. So let me tell you, and I'm not interested in taking anything from Mr. O'Rourke there. According to the KLTV, the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas there, he said, what I want to make sure is that we do is defend the Second Amendment. He said, I want to make sure that we protect our fellow Texans far better than we're doing right now. And that we listen to law enforcement, which Greg Abbott refused to do, according to Mr. O'Rourke. Let me tell you something. You know what? Governor Abbott is going to clean house. I'm telling you right now. Governor Abbott is going to have no problems whatsoever winning his primary. There's not going to be a runoff election. And then Governor Abbott is going to win the general election. And then you know what Governor Abbott's going to do? He's going to run for president. You heard it right here on Come and Talk It.
Governor Abbott?
That's right. That's my prediction.
You say he's going to run for president?
That's right. Like LBJ, he's going to run for president. I'm telling you right now.
He's going to roll for president.
He will roll for president. You know what, Zach? I'm coming across this table. I'm going to get you for that one.
Did you know he actually shot a coyote?
That's right.
With his pistol, he was running with his dog, and a coyote was going to kill his dog, so he shot a coyote.
That
was not how it went?
No.
No, that was Rick Perry.
That was Governor Rick Perry.
Right. Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
Sit down and shut up.
The other the other governor.
That's right. The other governor.
That's what I meant.
That's right. That was Rick Perry. All right. So that's right. I'm telling you right now, Governor Abbott is going to win this primary with no problems at all. He's going to whip all these little, people that are trying to unseat him in the primary, and then he's going to turn around and he's going to beat with no problems whatsoever, the candidates that come forward in the general election, and then he's going to run for president. I'm confident in that. I think that's my prediction. So O'Rourke said that Abbott turned his back on law enforcement when he signed the Texas constitutional carry bill that endangers what he says lives of law enforcement in the state that's seen more cops and sheriff deputies gunned down than any other. So according to Beto, also called for other measures to reduce gun violence, including expanding background checks for those trying to purchase. I love how people, say, I'm standing up for the Second Amendment, but, oh, by the way, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, and do this, and do that, and do this. You're not standing for the Second Amendment. You said more against the Second Amendment than you're standing up for. Excuse me. What's your stance that you're saying that you're standing up for? What's your support of? I'm curious of that. According to a spokesperson for the Work campaign, they declined to comment on the candidate's latest comments on the record. Of course not, because you can't stand up in front of the press, the media, and say, I defend the Second Amendment. And then turn around and say, you know what? I don't like permitless carry. I don't like constitutional carry. I don't want citizens to be able to have the constitutional right to do something, something that it's a God-given right that's been given to us, from God to do. You have a right to defend yourself. You know what? When the Lord told his disciples, he said, you know what? If you don't have a sword, I suggest you go ahead and sell your cloak and buy yourself a sword. Boy, let me tell you, you're going to learn today. That's right. So, according to during a Democratic presidential debate back in 2019, little more than a month after a deadly mass shooting in his hometown in El Paso, and I want you to listen to this soundbite one more time. Beto O'Rourke through his support behind a mandatory assault weapons buyback program. And he said he said he's coming after your firearms. And he said a little more than that. Take a listen.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
And that proclamation drew cheers from Democrats at the time, but drew intense criticism from Republicans and gun rights advocates. As governor of Texas, O'Rourke said he would not have the power to confiscate firearms. Of course he would not. Don't have the power to do that. But shortly after he announced his run for governor in November, O'Rourke defended his remarks, telling the Texas Tribune in an interview that while he would vigorously protect the Second Amendment right to own a gun, most of us also understand that we should not have military-style weapons used against our fellow Texans. Well, you know what? I think I should own everything that the military owns. I think I should own a tank. If the military has a tank, you know what, Zach? I want a tank. If they have an anti-tank, weapon, I want it. If if they have something, anything the military has, I want it. If I can afford it, I should be able to have it. That's right. So you know what? I'm going to get me a tank. I want a tank, Zach. I need a tank.
I want to ride in that tank.
That's right. That's right. Everything that the government has, I should have, because that's my right. That's my right. And don't forget it. Go back to the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. Whatever weapons and firearms that our military had, so did the civilians. That it was, they. You got to look at history and how we're founded. We're founded on firearms, and we've always had firearms. That's how we defend this country. We defend all of our rights, because if you have the second and you defend the second, you can defend all of your constitutional rights. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hi, this is Stephen Williford, the Barefoot Defender. I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle and they are not in contact with your vehicle and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self-defense. People are allowed to just simply stand there and scream at you, scream whatever they want. Until they make a demonstrative effort to try to harm you, there is no immediate threat that would justify displaying or shooting or brandishing your firearm. Now, in the event that the person shows their own weapon, in particular a firearm, the existence of
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
A series of ongoing protests and blockades in Canada against the COVID-19 vaccine mandates and restrictions. So the call, they call the Freedom Convoy, is what it's called, by organizers, broke out in early 2022. And we haven't talked about this at all on the show, but the convoy was created to protest the vaccine mandates for crossing the United States border, but became a protest about COVID-19 mandates in general. And so you got citizens or, truckers are standing up and say, you know what, enough is enough. We've been doing this since 2020, and people are getting PPE fatigue, and in Canada, they're standing up. They're saying, all right, enough is enough. We need to stop. Let's get back to normal. We're done. We can't do this anymore. Zach, what is going on in Canada?
So, they're protesting the vaccine mandates. These truckers are getting together. They went to Ottawa, and there are a bunch of them there flooding the streets. And Trudeau is calling them racist, sexist, terrorists, basically. So, fun fact, 98% of these truckers are vaccinated.
Ooh.
But they're calling them anti-vax. They're just against the mandates. They're against the government intrusion and government mandates to require these vaccinations when they're vaccinated.
So what's Canada doing to shut them down?
Let's see. Trudeau, he invoked the
Hitler Jr. here.
No, Castro Jr. actually.
Little Hitler.
Little Castro.
Little Castro? All right, little Castro.
Yeah, there are actually pictures with his mother and Fidel Castro, and there's some questions as to who his father is. His real father. But
allegations
only. Okay?
Allegedly.
So Trudeau invoked the emergency, some kind of emergency, basically this act that's used against terrorism, right? And they're calling these truckers terrorists, and they have seized the funds given to them, donated to them on this website, which is similar to GoFundMe in the US, but the Canadian one is Give, Send, Go. And they have frozen these funds, and they have not allowed these donations to get to the truckers, to get them food and, necessary supplies to continue this protest.
And that's going to hit. It's actually going to hurt Canada, because if you can't get your goods and services, from the trucks aren't moving, and then you go in and you confiscate those trucks, and you seize their funds, that's going to hurt the nation, that entire country, because everything comes by truck.
Yeah, what they're doing is not for the good of the people.
It's going to hurt
what the
them.
government is doing is not for the good of the people.
It's going to hurt the government and the people more so than they think.
These truckers are protesting in the name of freedom and autonomy and against these mandates, but the government is not about that.
What a concept.
They're not for that.
Let's change gears. Let's talk about this case, this Waffle House shooting. Let's talk about that. So this case actually went to court, and I guess the video was just really, we got a different angle of the video, I think. And so the jurors see video of hero James Shaw Jr. disarming Waffle House shooter Travis Ranking. So if things had just gone a little differently, then James Shaw Jr. may have been the fifth slain victim of a Waffle House shooter, Travis Ranking. But as jurors saw on surveillance footage Monday, Shaw was able to disarm the defendant more than 3 years ago in that Nashville restaurant. Now, footage showed Ranking entering the Waffle House holding an AR-15 rifle and wearing only a green waist-length jacket, as seen on video. And Shaw tackled him, wrenching the firearm across the counter and forcing Ranking outside of the building. Now, Ranking said something along the lines of, "This N-word just disarmed me." So I thought that was kind of funny. So Shaw's testified that Ranking was giving him a look in the courtroom that was all too familiar. And he's giving me the same look he did that night, he said. Ask what it was, Shaw said. Looked like he didn't care. A camera panned over to Ranking at that time, and his face expressionless and his mouth hanging open. He stared at Shaw, but did not seem to be showing any clear emotions at all. And so, man, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at this video at all, but it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy video of this guy goes into, he actually pulls up outside of Waffle House, and he opens fire, through the window of Waffle House. And if you know how Waffle House is set up, if there's anyone sitting at the counter there, and this guy, what he does, he pulls up outside and he fires a shot. He shoots the lady that's sitting at the counter. And I think she was the intended target, I'm not sure. And he shoots this lady. She drops and everyone runs for cover. And then he eventually comes inside the Waffle House. When he comes inside, that's when this other guy who was inside, and his name is, what's his name? James Shaw. James Shaw comes out of the back there and tackles this guy. He's like, look, at some point you got to refuse to be a victim. You can't hide, and waiting for this guy to come in to the room where you're hiding and, have the barrel pointed at you. It's better to just come out of the room and just jump on this guy and tackle him, let him know you got to stop. And he was able to disarm this guy. He was able to get the rifle out of his hands and flung it across the counter. And then, he fought this guy all the way back outside the door there. And so, you have to do what you have to do. You have to have that will, that desire to live and fight. Because I tell people, I customers that come into the shop, or sitting in class, and they'll say, "Hey, Michael, what if someone's threatening me? And it looks like they want to fight me. Well, if someone looks like they want to fight you, 2 doors down from us is called Krav Maga. Around the corner from us is called Muay Thai. You might want to, take some self-defense classes, but because a gun is not for every single situation. So there are times you may have to fight your way, first. And if the person's trying to kill you, then you can pull your firearm out and use it. So, a lot of times, you may have to, use force and fight your way out of that situation. A gun's not the first thing that you should actually do. What do you think, Zach?
You're absolutely right. I mean, de-escalation needs to happen first, an attempt to cool the situation down.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to use your words before you use your fists and weapons, right?
I know. And, did you hear about the chicken wing thieves after the Super Bowl?
They tried to steal some wings?
Yeah. So
really hungry.
Idiot 1 and Idiot 2. They actually go to they go to like a sports bar. Break into the sports bar, right before Super Bowl, and they go in and they steal the chicken wings from the Super Bowl. I mean, we're having a hard time right now. A lot of people are struggling. we're not getting things as fast as we want them. Chicken prices are going up. They're increasing. And what we do not need is I do not need, idiot one and idiot two stealing the wings and causing my price of my wings to go up, especially right before the Super Bowl game. Right before the Super Bowl. I don't need that. We're coming up on South by Southwest, right? Is it South by Southwest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're coming up on South by Southwest. We're coming up on Mardi Gras. This is like March is like a busy month for Austin, Texas. And so, I need my wings and stuff. I need to be able to, have the few little pleasures in life is all I ask for. I try not to overindulge and just eat, get what I need. And so this guy breaks into a sports bar and steals the chicken wings before Super Bowl Sunday.
So, yeah, you think this is crazy? There's a story back from 2013, January 28th. Two Georgia men were arrested January 28th for allegedly stealing $65,000 worth of frozen chicken wings from a cold storage business where they work.
They should be tarred and feathered.
$65,000. These guys that you're talking about stole a couple $100 in chicken wings.
They should be tarred and feathered.
They should be slathered in buffalo sauce.
That's a sin right there. Should be spanked in spicy barbecue sauce.
They should be fried and then
dipped in lemon pepper.
Dipped in barbecue.
That's right. That's a shame. I tell you. Only in that was in Georgia?
That was in Georgia.
Yeah. And this one here happened in Georgia. This one,
Georgia?
What's up with you fools in Georgia?
They love their wings.
Get control of yourselves there.
You're from Georgia, right?
No.
Florida,
sir. No, sir.
Georgia.
No,
right?
sir. No, sir.
You lived in Georgia for a while.
I'm from Florida.
You never lived in Georgia?
I was stationed in Georgia as part of being in the military against my will.
Get you for that.
That's right. That's right. Against my will.
You had no say on the matter.
No say whatsoever. I was forced. I was assigned. I was stationed. Had orders.
Did you notice people just went nuts for chicken wings there?
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I like chicken wings.
They're going to be bones all over the streets now. Fellow inmate, I'm in triple homicide, assaulted an officer, and arson. These comments they have here on this thread is just hilarious to me. Yeah, people are homeless, being denied organ transplants. Crime is soaring, and these people are talking about, stolen wings. That's what we're talking about. It's a sin. It's a sin against the people. That's right. You can't take the wings. Don't take my wings. Oh my goodness. All right. So we come back from the break. We got to talk about, let's see. I need to discuss this the Remington settlement.
Ooh. 73 mil.
Man.
That's a bad precedent.
I got a problem against this. I have a problem. Yes. And also we're going to talk about the ATF Valentine's Day. ATF Valentine's Day. What's up with ATF? Come on, ATF.
Snitch on your former partner.
What? Oh, come on. We got to talk about the ATF Valentine's Day and Remington settlement. We come back from the break. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so Sandy Hook family settled with gun maker for $73 million over the Sandy Hook shooting. $73 million. So the families of 9 Sandy Hook shooting victims settled a lawsuit for $73 million on Tuesday against the maker of the AR-15 style rifle used in the massacre, in what is believed to be the largest payout by a gun manufacturer in a mass shooting case. The agreement is a significant setback to the firearms industry because the lawsuit worked around the federal law protecting gun companies from litigation by arguing that the manufacturer's marketing of the weapon had violated Connecticut consumer law. The families argued that Remington, the gunmaker, promoted sales of the weapon that appealed to troubled men like the killer who stormed into Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14th of 2012, killing 20 first graders and 6 adults. The lawsuit was filed by relatives of 5 of the children and 4 of the adults. These 9 families have shared a single goal from the very beginning: to do whatever they could to help prevent the next Sandy Hook, said according to Josh Koskoff, the lead lawyer for the families. It is, and according to his words, he says, it is hard to imagine an outcome that better accomplishes that goal, I guess, than money. In addition to the financial statement, lawyers for the family said the Remington agreed that to the release of thousands of pages of internal documents, including possible plans for how to market the weapon used in the massacre. And the families have said that a central aim of the lawsuit was to pry open the industry and expose it to more scrutiny. And Remington had resisted turning over any internal documents, even in a country where mass shootings had become a painfully common occurrence, according to this news source, which is the New York Times. So, man, what do you think? What do you think? What do you
I
think?
think that if they really wanted to prove themselves and show that, they wanted to as they wanted to do, bring these gun manufacturers to justice, then they would have taken it to court, right? Would have gone to court. Instead, they wanted money.
Mm.
And the lawyers got half of that money.
Right.
And then the rest was split up between all the families involved.
Right. Man, according to President Biden, he released a statement on Tuesday that he praised the settlement, saying that while the settlement does not erase the pain of that tragic day, it does begin the necessary work of holding gun manufacturers accountable for manufacturing weapons of war and irresponsible marketing these firearms. And honestly, I don't see where the manufacturers are actually marketing to anyone.
I'm
see
curious about this advertising that they're talking about.
Yeah, I just don't see that. I just don't see it whatsoever. Unless they're talking about the movies, unless they're talking about Hollywood, I don't see any. I've never seen an advertisement for an AR. I've never seen an advertisement for an AR. I'm just saying, so I don't see what they're talking about. I was in the military. I prefer an AR over an AK. Yeah, because AR is, I consider that it's armor light rifle, but I like calling it an American rifle because I'm biased like that. I like my American things that are made here in the United States as best as we can make them. But then the AK, a weapon of our enemy. I'm not a fan of the AK. I consider that the weapon of the enemy. So just not a fan of that. You traitors who like AKs. Just putting it out there. Don't call me. Don't care. You're a traitor. You like an AK.
It's a reliable gun, though.
Yeah, whatever. I like my AR. It's called the armor light rifle, which I like to call the American rifle.
Which a lot of people like to call an assault rifle or automatic rifle.
Yeah, which is assault is a verb. Your assault bat, your assault rifle, your assault shoe. Yeah, when my mother hit me with a shoe, that was an assault shoe. So,
assault switch.
Assault switch. Go get that assault switch for me out there in the backyard. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, assault is a verb. So whatever. And I just don't see this. I don't get this at all. I wish they would have fought a little harder. But I guess there are things that we don't know about, things that they were going to come out, things that they found in discovery that probably wasn't looking good. So they finally, I guess, wanted to put this behind them and move on from here. Not sure. But I wish they would have fought a little harder for this one. All right. So also, I'm going to change gears a little bit and talk about the ATF ask people to report their exes for illegal gun activity on Valentine's Day.
Totally ridiculous.
What kind of shenanigans is this?
So they took to Twitter. The ATF.
Took to Twitter?
The federal agency.
Oh, my God.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day, the day for lovers. Valentine's Day.
And they basically posted a tweet that said, hey, are you disgruntled with a former lover? Are they illegally doing anything with guns? Then have a great Valentine's Day by reporting them to us.
Snitches get stitches. That's all I got to say.
Okay, here's the quote from ATF HQ on Twitter.
Snitches get stitches.
They said, Valentine's Day can still be fun even if you broke up. Do you have information about a former or current partner involved in illegal gun activity? Let us know and we will make sure it's a Valentine's Day to remember. Call blah 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 or email such and such.
You should never ever ever date anyone that's going to bring law enforcement into your house. Never. Anyone that's going to bring the police into your home is not someone you should sleep with. I'm telling you now.
My favorite reply to this tweet. It's a guy that said, I have information on some guys who trafficked guns to Mexican drug cartels. Eric Holder masterminded the whole scheme and then had his best friend Barack Obama assert executive privilege to protect him from having to testify. Their co-conspirator was an agency called the ATF.
Oh, man, you got
it's called Fast and the Furious.
Gotta love him.
Look it up.
So the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Explosive is offering Jilted lovers. Jilted lovers, they say. A unique way to celebrate the Valentine's Day. Man. That's what's wrong. Here we are, 2022. We're trying to come out of COVID-19. We're trying to, get rid of Omicron. We're trying to get back to normal, and we're encouraging this divisiveness. We need to do a little better of, just loving each other and enjoying each other and getting back to normal, taking off these masks and, and sucking in some oxygen, getting some air there and getting back to some normal way of living here. This is just crazy to me. Yeah. I'm sticking by my my word there, my statement. If you're dating someone that's going to call law enforcement on you, because I'm telling you right now, do you know if you get convicted of a simple Class C misdemeanor of domestic violence, simple Class C, we're talking Class C, that's equivalent to a ticket, a speeding ticket. You get convicted of a Class C misdemeanor of domestic violence, that will bar you for life from purchasing a firearm from a gun store. That's not someone you want to bring into your household. Anyone that calls the police, bring the police to your house to get you convicted of domestic violence is not your friend. That's not your friend. You should be able to work those things through. Work it out, work it through. And don't hit your loved one. Work through those issues. All right, let's see. All right, what else are we going to talk about today? Oh, man, we got to run out of time. That's going by quick. All right, so Franklin Armory. Zach, Franklin Armory BFS 3 for the Glock 17 reperfection. So, let's see.
Yeah, Franklin Armory, best known for their binary triggers.
Okay.
Which is basically a trigger that fires once when you pull the trigger and then once when you let go of the trigger. And it is not classified as a machine gun because of
it's
the
like a reset
of its action.
Because it's more like resetting the trigger.
A forced reset trigger is a little different. This acts in a different manner where if you pull the trigger really fast, then it'll shoot twice as fast as a normal trigger being pulled.
Okay.
Right? So Franklin Armory has just released at SHOT Show, I believe, that they are coming out with a Glock binary trigger for your Glock handgun.
Right.
And it's going to have a little switch, a selector on the back of the slide on the left side where you switch it from normal mode to binary mode.
So what's the difference between those and the ones down in Houston? Little switches.
Oh, the ones in Houston that gets you sent to federal prison?
Yeah, don't drop the soap.
What do they call them? Fun switches or something?
Fun switches.
Where they just go brrrr when you hold down the trigger.
Yeah, so I got, I've actually been turning down interviews this year. 2022 is the first time I've actually turned down news interviews from major news sources. There are some national news sources. I had one from, I can't think of the name of the news source right now. So national news source. And they wanted to do a story on those switches. They wanted me to get the switches and then go down to the range, and they want to videotape it and talk about the switches. I'm like, are you crazy? I'm not doing that, because then I'll be teaching someone how to do this crap. It's starting to be a very, it's starting to get out of control and out of hand. And I'm not going to be that catalyst to push it over the, over the hump there. So no, I'm not going to, I declined the story. And they were so upset and mad at me because of that. Just not going to do that. Yeah. So I think my New Year's resolution for 2022 is to start turning down, some news stories there.
Take some time for yourself.
Got to think about self sometimes. That's right. Love myself. Shut up.
A little alone time every now and then.
A little alone time? No? Okay. I guess not. All right. We come back from the break. Sandy Hook, someone said about Sandy Hook, that the killer murdered his mother, then took the weapon to kill kids. What could Remington have done to stop that? And that's a good statement. Seriously, how can Remington be responsible for that? This guy stole a gun from his mother, killed his mother, then went to the school to kill kids.
And he did it all because of some ad that Remington put out in National Geographic.
That no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
That they can't prove that this guy saw one ad, one advertisement. I've never seen an advertisement. I've never seen an advertisement for Remington firearms ever in my life. This is Michael Cargill, and you are are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so let's travel to California. Yeah, let's go on over here to California. I got something for California. So Governor Newsom announces a Texas-style bill that would let residents sue gun makers. He's calling this a Texas-style bill. You know why, Zach?
Something about abortion, I'm sure.
Yeah. So California Governor Gavin Newsom is getting the gun control version of Texas abortion law that he called for in December. So State Senator Bob Hertzberg, a Democrat from Van Nuys, on Friday unveiled new legislation that would allow Californians to sue makers and sellers of what they call assault weapons, 50 BMG rifles, ghost guns, or ghost gun kits. Officials didn't go into the details of the bill, but made it clear that it's based on a Texas law allowing people to sue abortion providers. And I have just one little message for the state of California. The Second Amendment is a constitutional right. Abortion is not. Now, swallow that. That's what you got to say, Zach. You going to stay out of that fight? Zach say, I have nothing to say there. I didn't say that. I said it. My call-in number is 512-643-5483. That's right. The Second Amendment is a constitutional right. Abortion is not. So if Texas can use a law to ban a woman's right to choose and put her health at risk, according to the California governor, he said, we will use the same law to save lives and improve the health and safety of the people in the state of California. All right, so we'll see how this pans out. This is going to be an interesting fight here. California, they do they go about doing the craziest things they possibly can on the left, so I find it kind of, interesting how this stuff plays out. Governor also, he dared the Supreme Court to strike it down since the justices in December upheld the Texas law. I dare the Supreme Court to strike it down. Well, he's going to learn today when eventually it goes to the Supreme Court in about 2-3 years. Or maybe sooner. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, look where they got with Remington.
Yeah, that's true.
73 mil.
Don't remind me, Zach. That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts. It hurts.
Wonder if they're going to sue SUV manufacturers when someone gets killed with a car.
Yeah, we should. Matter of fact, we should focus on Tesla. Those vehicles that are those unmanned vehicles. They strike someone and take them out. There's no principled way the U.S. Supreme Court can uphold this law, according to Newsom. He says it is quite literally modeled after the law they just upheld in Texas. So the fight's brewing. We'll see what happens. Now, also, let's go to Austin, Texas. A grand jury has indicted 19 Austin police officers over an assault charge over Black Lives Matter protests that took place in 2020. So, Zach, I go back and I think about this. Okay, I said, okay, so you're talking about people that were blocking the interstate highway, and they were trying to get people on the roofs of the high rises to have snipers up there. They were making Molotov cocktails, trying to throw Molotov cocktails, at spectators and law enforcement, and they're upset because they got hit with beanbags while they're doing this, blocking the interstate, trying to get snipers on the roofs of the high rises along the interstate. Am I missing something? Am I in the wrong in this?
Well, these people made it clear that they wanted to defund the police and not have any police. So any people that are still on the force that didn't quit,
And this case here, I'm going to depend on my jurors. I'm going to depend on the people that I know that actually go and vote, who are going to receive that jury summons and going to serve as a juror in this case is what I'm going to depend on. I'm going to depend on the people that, I know that are out protesting. These are not your typical voters. They don't vote. They go out and they protested in 2020 because they weren't working at the time. And so they had time off. So, hey, we're not working, we have time off, let's go ahead and protest. They're not your typical voters. So I'm going to depend on the people that are typical voters. And that's going to be your older generation, a lot older, who are typically that are religiously going to the polls to go vote. They're going to receive this jury summons. And I don't think they're going to normalize people wanting to block traffic, put snipers on the roofs of high rises and throw Molotov cocktails at law enforcement.
Well, the grand jury came from the same pool of people, right?
They say, let me see, how can I say this? A district attorney can indict a ham sandwich if he wants to.
But a grand jury had to do it, and those are people who are basically called from a jury summons, aren't they?
The district attorney can decide to present what information he or she wants to present to get the grand jury to make a decision. So they can provide just partial information.
So there's no defense, basically.
They can be very biased. But the case, when this case goes to court, that's a whole nother story.
And they're going to see the other side of it.
They'll see the other side. Take a look and listen to this.
Additionally, the weapons provided to our officers did not perform in all instances in the manner anticipated. APD recognized this and now prohibits the use of less lethal munitions in crowd control situations. I am not aware of any conduct that, given the circumstances that the officers were working under, would rise to the level of a criminal violation by these officers.
And see, and this is also the same time frame that we had 8 people in 5 vehicles. This is the exact same week. We had 8 people in 5 vehicles try to break into the gun store. They tried to ram the front entrance. They tried to shoot up the front entrance of the gun store. They tried to get in and then care, about anyone's safety or anything, just randomly firing shots at the door to break into the gun store. And these are the people who are saying, they're victims. And I don't see them as victims at all. And I don't think that as civilians, I don't think we want to normalize things of this nature. We don't want to normalize this type of behavior. I don't want to normalize what happened in June, July of 2020. To me, that is not normal, and that shall not pass. So I urge people, when you get your jury summons, to actually make sure you show up and do your duty, your due diligence, your duty, and be a juror, and and hear this case and listen to it impartially, and find these officers not guilty. All right, so let's see. Tennessee. Let's go to Tennessee real quick. So, Tennessee, a Tennessee bill would designate some gun owners as law enforcement. What's up with that? So, legislation introduced in Tennessee state legislature this month is raising alarms from the state's police union and gun control advocates who say it could turn the streets into the Old West. 2 bills in the state assembly and state senate, HB 254, Senate Bill 2523, would amend Tennessee law. I'm hoping here. Would amend Tennessee law and designate a person who has been issued an enhanced handgun carry permit as a member of law enforcement. Boy, that sets up Texas. I think we need to get an enhancement license to carry handgun. Enhancement license. So that way, hey, we can be law enforcement.
Well, in Texas, as a demographic, license to carry holders commit less crimes than any other demographic, no matter how you split it, including less crimes than law enforcement officers.
That's right. And as introduced, it expands the definition of law enforcement officer to include a person who has been issued an enhanced handgun carry permit, provided that the permit is not suspended, revoked, or expired, for purposes of authority to carry a firearm under certain circumstances. The summary for the bill reads that on the Tennessee General Assembly website, that, hey, they are currently 686,348 active enhanced handgun carry permit holders. Tennessee's behind the power curve. We got 1 million here in Texas. We got over 1 million. So they better catch up. I think we need to get an enhanced license to carry handgun here in Texas, and I think we should follow suit and do the same thing. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Man, I tell you what, I enjoyed you guys today. I want you to be safe out there. Remember, love each other, take care of each other, defend each other, and carry all the time. And make sure, you have all your EDC. Make sure you have your, whatever you need, your extra mags and all that good kind of stuff. As always, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You will listen to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.